George Cox of the Richardson Method. We are going to learn all about the psychic world, and we're here once again with Noel Richardson. How you doing, Noel?
Great, thanks for having me.
So tell us what's all about this show, what's coming up.
The show, too, is so interesting because, we're around Massachusetts at the Richardson Method, and we go around and we read people, we talk to people, we talk about the mediumship world versus the psychic world versus moving into the clearing world we'll be doing for show 3, but we went down to Salem, Massachusetts to really investigate that magical little town. We interviewed some mediums, we talked to some people about the area and how it started, and talked a little bit about the witch trials. So that was very interesting. So this show is packed with a lot of great stuff. And then I did some, people called in here to Westford Cat, and I did some readings.
And you also had a singing medium. Tell me about that.
Oh, yes. Stasia Zimeris, which is out of Salem, Massachusetts, is a medium in Salem that picks up your vibration through voice. And that's how she does your readings. We have a great interview with her. She's so interesting.
Now, I know you took some calls right here at the studio.
Yep.
Is it difficult to pick up somebody's vibration when you're not in the room with them?
Well, I do a lot of phone readings anyway, and I usually don't think that that's a problem. I just really need to hear their voice. I really need that voice connection to be able to pick up on a reading for them. I don't think that those readings were just done with automatic writing, and I think I just used some paper. I don't think I even used cards this time around. Right now, we're going to show one of the interviews, one of the phone interviews with Diana Porzio, and then we're going to get her feedback on the reading, and we'll be right back with the Richardson Method. Stay tuned. Diana, thanks so much for calling into the Richardson Method.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you? Diana, you've had readings before, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay, perfect. So before we start, is there anything in particular that you need to know from me today?
No, just any future things, possibly.
Okay. So I wanted to tell you that you do have somebody really positive around you. And I do feel like this is a grandmother vibration. I do feel like you get her looks from her. I do feel like she's a beautiful woman. I do feel like you were very close. I do feel like losing her was very hard for you. Can you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, I do feel like she has a sister there that's kind of like with her, that's more crass or more funny. And I think they butted heads a lot, but she's also very beautiful too. Can you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. She comes in around and about your vibration. On a love vibration because she cares about you so much. So she's been here for a little while. I do feel like she's very excited to do this. I do feel like she's very excited to come through and talk to you. I feel like she's around you a lot, and I feel like you can feel her a lot of the times. Can you understand that?
Yes, yeah.
So you know when she's telling me that in the last 48 hours she's been around you really close and you can smell her and notice her. Can you understand that?
Yes.
So she also is telling me that you've been crying in the last couple of days, more than you have on the average.
Yeah, that's true.
And she's been around you every single time this has happened. She wants you to know that.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I keep getting the month of January around you, or January with her. So that's the anniversary of her passing, her anniversary with her husband, some sort of anniversary with January. Can you understand January being really important to her?
She passed in January.
Okay, so now, well, that's really good validation. That's what she's really coming through strong because she loves you so much. So I also want to say to you, for me, that this transition in your life that's happening right now needs to happen quickly. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is what she's giving me. So I'm going to do psychic and mediumship with you. She wants it to happen quickly. So that means don't start, like, you know what? If you don't like the china set, put it in storage. Okay? Because I keep seeing things, and I keep seeing a garage sale. Can you tell me about the yard sale or the garage sale?
I'm actually planning to have a yard sale probably in the next month.
Okay, because I want to come to that, just so you know, so you have to invite me. Because there's a lot of stuff she's saying to me that you don't like.
Yes.
Okay. And it's not that, it's the person who gave it to you is the reason you don't like it. Can you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I am here with Diana Porzio, and she had a reading. You just saw the reading that she had with Noel. It was done over the phone. How did that go? What was it like having a psychic reading over the phone?
It was different. It was different than, being in person. And I actually liked it better because I got time to absorb and write things down when she was saying it rather than going back and forth in person. She paused a little bit and was able to give me a little time to absorb what she said.
Nice. And I know she touched on a few points, which one was being a connection with your grandmother. What surprised you about that?
It's actually what didn't surprise me. I wasn't surprised that she came through. If anyone was to come through, it would be her. Mm-hmm. She had a very strong presence in life, so it wasn't surprising that she came through in a reading.
So do you feel like your grandmother's still around you and she's like, one of your guides? Because I know Noel was picking up on that.
Yes, yeah. Noel picked up on a couple of different things that, she's different times I've felt her in the past few weeks and different moments that I've felt her, and she's always around.
And I know she talked about China and
yes.
something with ugly China, or tell us a little bit about that. And
well, when she mentioned that, she mentioned I was having a yard sale, which is true. I'm going to have one in the next few weeks or so. And I actually was handed down china. That's just not my style. It's very country, very old-fashioned. It's probably something I just took because I felt like I had to because it was passed down to me, but it's not something I would like.
So that was Diana Borzio giving her thoughts about the reading here that she received by Noel Richardson at our studio. It was a live call-in. She picked up on her vibrations. Right now we're going to go to Stasia Zimeris' interview, The Singing Medium in Salem. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be right back with the Richardson Method.
I'm actually sitting here in the center of Salem, Massachusetts, with one of Salem's very own singing medium, Stasia Zimeris. She works here in Salem as a singing medium, but also lives in this community where there's a lot of psychics, mediums working in the occult here in Salem, working in this magical town. What's your idea of magic?
Magic. What is magic? Well, being a Hermetic theurgical Neoplatonist, really, it means that philosophy meets mysticism and takes flight. It means that one is not only the witch, but the tool, the instrument through which magic happens. It means that you know what to do, what tools to use, what to face, what to intone and how to intone the prayers, what bodily movements go with those, and that you know it's discipline, it's study, it's will, it's power, but in a good way because you have to divest yourself as much as possible of your ego, and it's from the heart. Being a witch is knowing that there's another dimension that's going on all the time here. You're in contact with the gods and goddesses, however you want to define it.
So you call yourself the singing medium. So you sing while you read? How do you do that?
I was an opera singer. Sound is very important for me. And I always feel spirit uses our strengths and our foibles. And because sound is so important, I grew up with classical musicians and all of that. When I do a reading, I always say vibration is all there is.
All right, so show me.
Oh, well, I'm gonna, sing a few notes to see where you're vibrating, and that's how I work. We all work differently. And so I'll, that's you. That's where you are today. And frequently people, oh wow, I felt that.
I felt that.
That's good. But I hear things, I get things. They tell me, yes, I get words, I get what they're coming about. They just tell me things through the sound.
So let's say I'm brand new to Salem. I've never been here before. We have so many stores about so many different things in them. And I want to do some magic, Stacy. Maybe a love spell. Maybe I want love in my life. Or I need to take one thing away from Salem. If I was to purchase something, what would be one of the most important things that I could get here?
First of all, let's go to the love spell. People, we all want love. We all love, so can you do a love spell? You cannot inhibit somebody else's karma. You cannot do a spell so that you make that person come to you. If it's not in his best interest, why should you? Who wants that kind of karma? You shouldn't do that. You should ask for love in general. I want someone to come into my life who is a lovely person, character, lovely characteristics, good character, whatever you want. But you can't say, I want that person and nobody else, because what if it's not in his karmic best interest to be with you? You just can't corral people, kidnap people like that. You just can't. One thing to take away from Salem, I would say the one thing to take away from Salem is to feel the energy that goes on here and to absolutely know and to convince yourself and to believe that there is something beyond your own nose.
If you're ever here in Salem, please feel free to make an appointment with the singing medium. I'm Noel Richardson for the Richardson Method.
Noel, we just saw Stasia Zimeris' interview, The Singing Medium in Salem. Tell us about the magical town of Salem.
The magical town of Salem is, it's a witch town. That's how they make money, is basically they do have a very high population of practicing Wiccans. And so what we wanted to do is kind of go down there, feel it out, see what was happening, and then ask Stasia about magic. Positive magic and how it works for her. And she answered some great questions. She's very entertaining. So it was really fun to have an interview with her and to walk around the town and get some really great, pictures.
And I know we're coming into the busy season now. We're coming into the fall, which is a really busy time in Salem. And you had a chance to go to the Salem Witch Museum. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I didn't think that I would end up investigating as much as I did about the history of the hysteria that really didn't even start in Salem, but it was in Europe too, where we were accusing people of practicing devil worship or being with the devil and calling them witches and killing them for it. So basically it was a hysteria that started in Salem based on the fact that the town was struggling. They got a new pastor, they were struggling, there were allegations about families, and Salem had started, or Davenport at the time, because it's part of Danvers, had a jail, which they created for these people to put them in. And that jail was buried and let go of until we had somebody, I think, discovered it in 1957. So they did a recreation of it in the dungeon. But Salem wasn't proud of the way that kind of hysteria happened. And so a lot of people trying to kind of let it go. But basically, there was what we learned, 19 people killed based on rumor.
So right now, we're going to go to Noel's interview on location in Salem at the Salem Witch Museum. We'll be back right after that.
This is Noel Richardson here with the Richardson Method, and we're standing in front of the beautiful Salem Witch Museum with wonderful Stacy Tilney, and she's Director of Communications here in Salem. Well, we have a couple questions we'd love to ask you about what kind of job this is for you about the Salem witch trials.
First of all, it is one of the most interesting, incredible stories to understand, and so educating people about this story it never gets dull, it never gets boring. I get asked a lot of the same questions, and yet at the same time, it's still intriguing to answer the questions that people seem to have consistently.
So you're really in charge of the communications here at the museum to make sure that the information is accurate about what happened in the witch trials here in Salem, Massachusetts.
Right. I think accuracy really is the cornerstone of our mission here. And, it's very easy to find all kinds of historic fiction about the witch trials. And, in fact, there's a lot of fantasy. There are lots of shows on TV right now, as a matter of fact, that address Salem and witches in a very fantastical manner. So our mission really is to make sure that the information is accurate.
So now we're inside the museum. This is where you educate people what happened in Salem, Massachusetts in 1692, correct?
That's right. Most people understand the story starting in 1692 because that's how Arthur Miller wrote The Crucible, and everybody studied The Crucible in high school probably. So the idea that Arthur puts forward is that these young girls were playing in some kind of a game that they weren't allowed to, some kind of fortune-telling game, and that Tituba, the slave in Reverend Parris's household, was maybe telling some stories about her background in Barbados, and maybe they were stories about the occult. This is the theory, that these young girls were playing and found the coffin in the egg white game, and they took that as a hint that something evil was afoot. So they're very sort of, I guess you could call them superstitious in a way. So they read this sign, and the girls become inexplicably ill. Once they start flailing around and these young girls are sick in ways that no one can figure out why, the doctors are called in, the doctors can't figure out why, the natural assumption for this time is, must be witches. Must be witches. And witches, in Puritan vernacular, are people who have a relationship with the devil. Puritans believed that if you weren't with God, you must be with the devil, and you must have made a covenant with him, so he gives you evil powers. And so if you're associated with that stereotype, there's all kinds of negative assumptions that are made about your person. And based on that, these folks were accused of being witches, brought to trial, and hanged, and in one case pressed to death for these accusations.
Wow, that's a lot of information, and we're so glad about you giving us such great accuracy on the museum. So when people walk into the museum to find out about the witch trials, we kind of see a level of hysteria here, what was really happening in the town. So with that level of hysteria or pain or drama, what do you think inside the history or underneath line of what was going on in Salem started that? Not just the two girls, but there had to be more here.
I'm really glad that you point that out, because we all know that it wasn't the girls that started it, right? They were just sort of acting out this social energy that was going on in their community. So this is a layered story. We're talking about a community that was very insecure. They were starting out in this uncharted land. There was lots of wilderness in the boundaries, and there were wars going on. So in that wilderness were all of these unknowns, all of this occult, as it were. So there were lots of places and dark corners where evil things lurked in their own minds. The evil of God abandoning their mission, the evil of wars, the evil of being captured by the enemy and being slaughtered, or all of these stories that were going on in wartime. So you put these people in the context of the environment they found themselves, and it's a little bit easier to understand why they were so fearful.
So we're actually inside the Salem Witch Museum right now, looking around at how the educational story happens about the witch trials in 1692, and I'm here with the communications director, and Stasia, I have to ask you this question because there's so many misconceptions of the W word and witchcraft and the devil. So in the community, there was a lot of panic, as what you told me before, but also there was a new pastor. And how did his sermons go to help the people understand what was happening in the town?
Okay, so from an individualistic standpoint, the minister, who in this case was Reverend Paris, it was in his very home that these strange happenings with the young girls started. So keep that in mind. He's a new pastor. He's embroiled in a feud. There's factionalism going on, pro-Paris factionalism, anti-Paris factionalism, so there are groups of people for him, groups of people against him, to negotiate his salary, which he's never actually getting compensated as he had negotiated to begin with. So he's got a lot of emotional dynamic here, and he's got a lot at stake. So when he delivers his sermons, it's clear that his disappointment with the way things are going is coming out in his sermons, and he starts to, you can see, he's very dramatic, and he's very emotional, and he brings up a lot of sort of fire and brimstone.
So what happens with that fire and brimstone and a sense of community is 17 people ended up losing their lives based on, would you say, a rumor?
Well, it was 19 people who were hanged, and Giles Corey was pressed to death, so that's 19 altogether, and then another 5 people actually perished in prison.
I think you're really bringing up a great subject, is because we can, when we listen to this story and watch it unfold here at the museum, is that this could have been us. Stasia, you live in a community in Salem, Massachusetts, which is a small little mecca where the number one religion here is Wicca, which comes from the W word, or what they consider themselves in the covens here, witches. Have you seen a lot of that in your community, and how do you feel about it?
Well, I'm not sure that Wicca is the number one religion here, but I will say that we have one of the biggest populations of Wiccans per capita here. And for me personally, I don't happen to be a Wiccan. I happen to be, just for the sake of this conversation, I happen to be a Christian. But I find it wonderful to have this sort of salad or sauce or whatever expression you want to use of all the different eclectic types of people that are in Salem. And you really have to see it yourself to believe it and to understand that it's not a cliche when I say that we are a melting pot of eclectic types of personalities. And I love that richness. And I love the fact that people are that misunderstand the story and are inclined to their flights of fancy because they come to us and we have a really good conversation like the one I'm having with you right now, where I'm understanding more about what you think and you understand more about what I think. And that is really cool.
I think Stacy Tilney here at the Salem Witch Museum is such a great source of information for the community of telling the story correctly about exactly what happened here and understanding the religious change that has happened in this community from that. So we want to thank Stacy so much for joining us with the Richardson Method. I'm Noel Richardson with Stacy Tilney here in Salem and with Westford Cat TV. Thanks so much for watching.
We just saw Noel's interview on location in Salem at the Salem Witch Museum. You can see their information right here on the screen if you want to visit. It's a really busy time of year right now, and it's a great place if you want to learn about the history of some of the Salem witch trials. Right now we're gonna we were on location at the Slapshot Pub in Chelmsford. Tell us about what you were doing there.
They had a ladies' night. So the ladies' night was readings with me. So we had, I want to say probably like 11 women. So they came into Slapshot and they would, talk to each other, and then I would read each one of them, and you and I filmed some of them to see, people that allowed us to see, where I was and how their life was unfolding. And
now at the Slapshot, you actually use tarot cards. I know you have different methods.
It really was, I was giving them an option. Mm-hmm. There was some mediumship that was involved. People wanted to talk to people on the other side of life, and then some people wanted to know when they were getting married, so I whipped out my tarot cards to get quick results.
Excellent. Well, we're going to show some of that footage of the Slapshot Pub and some of the readings that you gave to these people, and we'll be right back with the Richardson Method, so stay tuned.
Okay, I love the way this feels. And then we were talking about this guy who, so this is what I want to say to you. This is the last person that you were involved with. He has emotional issues. Okay, so he needs to go, because he needs to go figure this out, whether this is medication based or whatever. Okay, so I just want to say to you, for me, these two need to cut the cord. You don't have to, because I have a feeling you're going to let him dance a little bit, so I'm going to let him dance with you. But I know that there's a history there, but I'm going to tell you, for a future husband stability, he doesn't have it. Give me 3 more. Any point in time, please ask me questions. Okay, let me talk about this. Let me talk about this with you, because I have to talk to you about this. You're going to be much more outspoken with him than you were 4 years ago. I feel like you have come into more of a woman than not speaking. This stands for I'm not speaking my feelings. Okay? You're going to be very straightforward. You're going to be like, this is never going to happen to me again. Can you make sure that happens? And he's going to have to answer these questions. Now here, this is what I want to talk to you about a little bit. He's already broken your heart. That's the heart card. Okay, now this doesn't mean like you're going to fall apart, but this means that this guy affects you so much, it makes you cry. Okay? So what I wanted to say to you is that he's going to make you cry again, but he might be worth the fight. Okay? He's going to be coming back saying some things to you that you will have never heard before. And you'll be like, you will swear and go, he's killing me. I got this feeling inside my body like I'm so confused, like I can't make a decision. Well, we have no problem worrying about money. We got money coming in. And we got more men coming in. We got the world, which is good luck. Give me 3 more. This means travel. You're already going away to England, so I didn't know that. Okay, do you see? Money's coming to you. But do you see what you have to go through to get it? See the anguish? She's in anguish. She's like, oh my God.
I've already been in anguish. I've already been there.
You got the High Priestess card, which means all good luck is coming to you. I have to be totally honest with you. I don't know if Adam's either staying or if he's going to walk or if he's going to get fired.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And I just want to say to you, too, he likes to do this to rattle the cage to see if you're going to crumble.
Who does?
Guy. Where's Guy? Right there.
He's testing me.
So this is what I want to say to you, and I don't know how to say this to you nicely. If he goes to the DSW conference, don't be surprised if he thinks he can go by himself. I keep seeing writing around you. That's from him too. I mean, I've never met you before in my life. I'm just asking him to keep telling me. And he really likes this. And he doesn't think that this is wrong. He believes in this. He said, I've never talked, go ahead, you say it. He goes, I've never talked about it before, and I thought some were weird. But thank you for that. He doesn't think I'm weird, and he thinks I'm quite attractive. He just told me I was a hot blonde. And he wanted to let you know that if you were going to do this with a hot blonde, I would have come through earlier. Okay? Yep, so that's what he just said to me.
We just saw a little bit of footage from the Slapshot Pub. You're actually going to go back there again and do some readings.
Yeah, so
how is it going to be different this time around?
Well, there's more people this time around, but it's good. We're going to, I think, do it in a smaller office because that place gets very busy, and I want to make sure people can hear me. But yeah, Slapshot's real fun. It's a great place to hang out, and they have all kinds of different things they offer. There's paint night, there's wine decorating, glass night, and then there's me. So Noel Richardson will be there probably next month. Slapshot has a Facebook page, you can check on it, and then they have PayPal, you can sign up and get a reading.
And what advice would you like to give to people who are actually coming to a reading? I mean, what would you like to say to someone who's never had a reading
Just
before?
really stay open. I think that when you see somebody with their arms crossed, their legs crossed, their head down, they don't really want to know. So, and if you really want to talk to somebody on the other side, like you want to talk to your grandmother or your uncle, keep that name vibration in your head and give it to the reader. If it's not me, somebody else, give it to the reader and say, I need to talk to John Holmes. So they have that vibrational level of where they're going to go with it next. And if they really want to know about, I need to know if I should purchase this home. I need to know if this is the right thing for me. Get a picture of it. Get a date of when it was built. The more information that reader has, the better off they can go in that more vibration to throw cards down and runes. We're going to be doing runes in round 3 of the Richardson Method. And then those people can figure, that way you can get your accuracy of what decision you need to make, whether it be, I need to talk to somebody, I need to hear from somebody, or I need to know what direction I take my life in.
Excellent. Well, if you'd like more information about the Richardson Method, visit the Facebook page at the Richardson Method, or it's also on YouTube. You can watch some of the shows and get to know, more of what you're doing.
Yeah.
We'd like to thank everyone for joining us today, and like Noel Richardson said, please keep an open mind. I'm George Cox for the Richardson Method. We'll see you again next time.